This probably would have been like a 30-minute episode if John was here. John, again,
Yeah.
sent us like a pretty aggressive video message from his recovery from his umbilicoplasty that he had apparently in Malaysia last week. But Peter and I dig into the awesome parts of capitalism and publicly owned companies and how much we love
Oh
them.
my God. It left me physically sick at the end of it. I'm sorry, but it really kind of wound me up a bit about the whole way that companies and investors and boards and stuff works, and how there's no loyalty to employees or to whatever, and it's all just horrible. Anyway, listen, if you like that kind of thing, then subscribe, please.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice. We really appreciate every subscriber. And we're kind of getting close to 500 subscribers, and it would mean a lot to us if we could get to that point.
Yeah.
So thanks.
We are not publicly funded. We do not have a board that we're accountable to.
We remain loyal to our employees here at the Not So Crypto Club. Yeah.
Here we go.
Enjoy the episode.
Gizmodo reports Microsoft CEO says no to raises for full-time employees this year. I think this is a story that John will be kicking himself for missing. We thought he was going to be back today.
Yeah, I'm still wondering what he's up to. Really, that guy.
Yeah, well,
he's all over the map.
He did send me another video message. It seems like he might still be struggling. Seems to be in a pretty bad mood. I'm not really sure what's going on with this guy. Where'd we go? There we go. Yeah. Let's hear what he has to say today.
It's still black for his screen, by the way.
I'm bringing the video up here.
All right.
Okay.
You've had your fun. But seriously, guys, do you think our audience would really believe this nonsense? That I, Philip my mouth with farts, would ever say these things? Our audience definitely knows better. Well, maybe not some of the clowns in Discord. They know who they are. On second thought, they probably wouldn't. Anyway, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm outie.
That was taking shots at Discord. That's crazy. We love our Discord server.
We do. We love Discord. Please come join us and see how much love we have to give.
Did you get quieter?
Did I get quieter? I don't know.
Did you push? I think you pushed your mic away or something.
I don't think so, but I can make it closer.
There we go. Yeah, that was crazy. I can't believe John would do that. I know John loves our fans. Maybe he just had a bad experience with somebody in Discord.
I think it would be you that you had a bad experience with anybody. Honestly, I'm not joking there at all. Genuinely.
Not to put too fine a point on it.
Yeah, to put a very, very blunt kind of red circle around it. So anyway, the story that we have today. Listen, John, if you're out there, I hope you're okay. Just keep checking in though. This is a Microsoft CEO says no raises for full-time employees this year. This was reported in a bunch of different places, and I think we picked one from Gizmodo. It's quite a jarring statement to make, especially considering the fact that he got a 10% raise last year, making his salary currently $55 million base pay.
Yeah, which makes it seem kind of inexcusable.
Yeah, kind of. Inexcusable.
How are you going to come out and tell your employees that they're not getting raises when you yourself took a $5 million raise? That seems crazy. Satya Nadella.
Satya Nadella, that's it. Yeah. How does this guy sleep at night, honestly? And he started off the statement as like, this has been a very difficult decision. And obviously, it was the classic, wasn't it? We consider all the options. It's hard for us to do this. But we made a decision. We don't make this decision lightly. I know it's going to be tough on people. Like, it just, I don't know. It's like something out of Succession. I don't know if Jesus, it's just crazy.
Yeah. And there's not a lot more detail in this story. So the job market's changed. Financial situation changed. And there's really mixed signals because the U.S. economy is actually objectively doing pretty well. Stock returns are great. Unemployment is super low. Inflation is slowing. Wages are still kind of stagnant. But because unemployment is so, like, especially in the tech area, what we've seen is that they're not hiring as much. There have been layoffs. They are having these kinds of cuts. So it's not maybe out of the norm, especially in the tech industry, to be having to make decisions like this. It really is that bit of the guy makes 55 million and got a huge raise for himself last year and coming out and saying, oh, woe is me, the company's doing so poorly. Sorry, we have to not give people raises this year, but not me.
And they also laid off 10,000 people recently. It does say that the contractors, this is just for full-time employees, so the certain types of contractors are still eligible for like contract increases or price increases or whatever, basically pay increases. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know, man. I think that, okay, so I asked that, how does he sleep at night? But I think that this is the kind of thing which other CEOs and other companies are going to look at and go, oh yeah, this guy's brutal. This guy's savage. Yeah, don't fuck with him, man. This is the CEO I want to be when I grow up. Like it's sort of, to a certain audience, they're probably like foaming at the mouth and going, yeah, you fucking show those peon white collar, poor people, their non-executive positions.
And the 55 million is just his salary. And by making a move like this, you're increasing your short-term profit, which is almost certainly going to drive your stock prices up. And a good portion of this guy's compensation is almost certainly in stock. So he's really winning on both sides by fucking his full-time employees over by not giving them raises.
Yeah. I bet you anything, 6 months down the line, when things are looking better for the economy and people start hiring again, or in a few months even, there's going to be an almost 180-degree statement of we value our employees and it's time to invest, and we're looking to expand in some growth areas, and we always pay people what they're worth. We invest in the future, all that kind of like hiring bullshit. I don't know, man. It's just it makes me think at the end of the day that like every job is literally just mercenary. Don't put any real effort into it, and don't care about anything too much, because they're not your friends at the end of the day. I don't think it should be like that, but that's sort of the thing.
I understand that feeling. It's hard to disagree with it. I think it almost can't be that way, though.
No, sorry. So I just want to say that
go ahead.
So to say that's the sort of thing that I can see my mind drifting towards. I don't actually genuinely feel like that, but it's like I can see how people do.
Like there's some truth to it. A corporation, if it's going to make them $1, will cut off your head, no question. So is it fair to hold employees to a different standard? However, the problem is that you're still people working with people, and you can't help but to develop relationships. And if you don't take your job seriously or put your effort into it, you're hurting somebody else that you're working with. And that dynamic of it is difficult to overcome. And the corporate aspect of it, Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks would always describe that corporations are not immoral, they are amoral. They don't care. They'll just do whatever's going to make them money. But that then puts you into a system where you're going to be treated this way, having almost nothing to do with the actual people that you work with. It's just a failure of capitalism.
Right. It sucks. And I've known people in the past who they kind of try to strike that balance, but I think badly, where they're like, they don't treat it as just going in and not caring, the sort of almost quiet quitting type thing, where they don't put any of their own personality into it. They do sort of, but when it comes to saying goodbye or firing people or whatever, they're pretty emotionless, and they do not cross the streams. They do not cross personal and professional lives at all. There's one guy I know. There was a company I worked at, and everybody added each other on Facebook. I didn't really like Facebook, but I said to him, "Hey, do you mind if I add you on Facebook?" And he said, "No, sorry, I do mind." I was like, "What? Right? Are you sure?" Okay. I mean, I respected his decision, obviously, but he's like, "Yeah, I don't add anybody I know from work on Facebook ever." Because he totally wanted to keep things separate. And up until that point, I was surprised by his answer, because he was a nice guy. He made jokes. He brought in, cupcakes every now and again. And it wasn't like he came for a beer after work, and he seems quite sociable, but he definitely had very, very clear lines. And I'm sure that when he walked away from, sorry?
Was he that blunt about it?
Yeah.
Because it seems like 100%. You could just say, "Oh, I don't add coworkers on Facebook."
No, he was like, "No, please don't add me on Facebook.
Okay.
If you add me, I will." It was, but like when he walked away from that job, I'm sure that he was just like, "Okay, next job." Like no, like emotional attachment at all. It was very much,
yeah.
It was weird.
So to that, I can't tell if this is argument that it's impersonal or that it is personal. So from this guy's standpoint, the CEO, Satya Nadella, the issue is, if he were to say, "Man, our employees have been having tough times. Inflation has been high. A bunch of people got laid off. People are probably unsure about their jobs. I really want to take care of these people. We're going to give everybody 10% raises across the board. And if that means we're slightly less profitable for the quarter, so be it. It's the right thing to do." He would be fired by his board and investors immediately. The value of the corporation would plummet. And it's got nothing to do with the corporation. It's to do with the investors and the nature of the stock market and the way our corporate laws are written. So I mean, his hands in a way are almost tied.
No, I see. I think that there's another way to put that, which is that he could have spent the time and effort and be willing to fight for the employees as part of his job.
But fight what? Who's he going to fight with? To fight with who?
For the long term. For the board, with the board.
There's no such thing as long term.
That's what I mean. Like, if you can convince the board that there is value in treating the employees right, which he is in a position to do.
But it's not even about the board. If the board makes that decision, the investors who are looking for those quarter-over-quarter returns are going to sue the board.
Well, the investors, but like, okay, then it's down to the investors, not the board.
I mean, ultimately, yeah. Ultimately, it's to the investors. The profit, the valuation of the company on the stock market drives all of these behaviors.
Okay.
The reason the company has to be profitable is to pay the ROI to the investors. You can't what?
Surely there is some like value in longer term. Like, why isn't every company just making porn because that's more profitable? Yeah. Why isn't every company, I don't know, selling whatever the most legal version of crack is? But like it. Well, there's some line, right?
It's just, I think maybe we talked about this before, but this is part of why the ESG investing, environmental, environmental, social, and governance is there were lawsuits because I think it was the Biden administration said that you could take a company's ESG initiatives into account when choosing how to invest your retirement funds. And they were sued and got it overturned because corporations said, you can't take anything into account that's not going to make the company more profitable today. And you could argue, just like you did, that, well, in the long term, that's going to make these companies more sustainable, more valuable. It's going to increase your returns. But the answer always is, what's my ROI today? And how am I going to make money today? And anything that gets in the way of that is out. Can't do it. Not an option.
I
I'm
don't
going
like
to
it.
sue the company. I'm going to sue the board. I'm going to fire the CEO. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make the company maximally profitable today. And this applies to public corporations. Private corporations are different dynamics. There, you're dealing more with the behaviors of the CEO and the board.
I feel a little bit sick. There's a company in the UK, famous store called John Lewis. It's massive. It's a chain retail store, and they sell sort of like middle class, upper middle class, everything, furniture and clothes and interior stuff and cooking shit. It's quite a pleasant shop to walk around. You know, everything's very nice, but a little bit expensive for me. But the company is owned by its employees, so every employee is a part ownership for it. So any kind of like decisions like this are made by every single employee collectively. And the boss recently put out a statement that the company will always be owned by the employees, which is really cool. And I think that's a lovely thing. And more companies should act like that in the interests of the employees.
Totally.
I don't like this topic.
Totally agree.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
All right.
Just not ever do anything like this again.
That's it. Hopefully we have John back tomorrow.
Yeah.
He seemed kind of wound up today. I'm sure he didn't mean what he said, but I'm a bit wound up. We'll get him back on course tomorrow. See everyone then.